The biggest cause of trouble in the world today is that the stupid people are so sure about things and the intelligent folks are so full of doubts. So to remind you of what I said the other day when I quoted Lao Tzu, high capacity, middling capacity, and low capacity, put it into practice, have two minds about it, laugh out loud. So where does doubt fit into this? Nothing wrong with questioning things. In fact, the only way you're going to learn everything is to question everything. But how do you know whether or not you're really questioning everything? I can doubt everything except one thing. And that has to do with the very fact that I doubt. Descartes. Didn't he say, I think, therefore I am? I wonder if he said that afterwards and if he'd rephrase that and go, I think, therefore I am, I think, therefore I am, I think. Seriously, folks, goes back to what Moses said in the teachings from the Essenes to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Moses said, I have two main obstacles. There are the ignorant masses and the arrogant rulers. Reminds me of what Shelton said. The greatest obstacle to living reform is not just ignorance, which is what we got a lot of, but it's the people who control everything, the ones who rule the world, the elitist, that small group that control everything, so that we lack the ability to question things. The problem that most of us have, I'm afraid, is that most of us are doing things we think are okay, and they're not okay. And what's the problem with that? You look around and everyone's doing it. So you don't even think you got to question it, do you? And of course, there's so much conflicting information. A lot of problems, the average person has got to be honest and say, I don't know. But most of them don't do that, do they? No. As Bertrand Russell pointed out just a moment ago with the beginning of my video here, the stupid people are so sure about things. They don't think they don't know. Kind of reminds me of how the Socratic irony works and the converse of that. I've done a couple of videos on this, a separate video on Einstein's Circle of Known. They credit it to him, but I doubt if he came up with it, because I don't think Einstein was all that bright. But anyway, I explained this in my special teaching tool, that if we want to look at our belief system, we start with a box of knowledge that has all the knowledge in the world. And then everybody's got little bitty circles inside that box that represents what they know. Everybody's got different sized circles, and hopefully we've got some overlapping circles where we all know one thing. Of course we don't. That's the problem. And then there was something I thought was interesting. He says that what we know is inside the circle, what we don't know is outside the circle. But then they say that the line that forms the circle is the interface between what we know inside the circle and what we don't know outside of our circle. So this is the type of ignorance where we know we don't know. We can be honest and say, I don't know yet, as there's too much conflicting information. So there's two ways we don't know we don't know. We don't know about what's outside of our circle, but the other way we don't know has to do with another box, and that's the box of false knowledge. And then what we got is the first stage of knowledge. I'll put it over here. Box of knowledge up here, box of false knowledge here. I explained that in my special teaching tool, the Ultima Schematic. That's the first stage, that's the knowledge we acquire. And our belief system has circles in both sides of these boxes. So the problem we have is we got another form of ignorance that we don't know. It's those false beliefs. And this is what gets us in trouble. We cannot learn anything when we think we already know. Again, the stupid people are so sure about things that they don't think about it. So if we go back to the top box, the box of knowledge, where we got a circle inside that, then what we have, to try to explain the point I'm getting at here, is that the bigger our circle gets, the bigger that line that forms a circle gets, and therefore the more we know we don't know. So that's why people with real big circles up here in that plus 8 box of knowledge are a little more humble. Again, that's the Socratic irony. I know so much, I don't know anything. Again, as that line that forms a circle of your knowledge gets bigger, there's more awareness of what you don't know, you don't know. Conversely, and this is what I'm getting at here, the converse of that is if you got a little bitty circle up there, then you got a little bitty line that forms a circle, and you don't know anything. So that's what Bertrand Russell's trying to say. The stupid people are so sure about things because they got little bitty circles. So what is the solution, folks? Well, I think the first step is to become the line that forms the circle. Admit that you don't know. And then when you have two minds about something, when you say, well, wait a second, we got the paleos and the vegans and they're both making mistakes, they both don't look all that great, there are problems with both those diets, how do I make sense out of this? There's only one way to make sense out of any of this information, is you got to rely on your own experience. Going back to that great Chinese proverb, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. That's what it's going to take to wake up this planet, my friends. And I've been reading you guys' comments recently, and I feel your pain. I know exactly what you're going through with all the family members ridiculing what we do, making jokes of it, laughing, ha, 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 ha. It's really tough when it's the people you love. Remember, you can't be a prophet in your own home. You might have to give up on the ones you love the most. Or get in their face and rattle their cage. I've done that before, and it works. It worked half the time in the beginning. Now I'm batting so low, I don't even want to try it anymore. But it doesn't keep me from doing it. Different people are motivated differently. Goes back to that personality test. Some people need to be yelled at, otherwise they don't think you're serious. And I'm not talking about the way I yell at you guys. I'm talking about other ways people yell at people, like coaches and stuff like that. You know, get off your ass, you lazy butt, blah, 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 blah. Some people are motivated by that. That turns a lot of people off. And I know the ones you love the most are just going to break your heart. It's really, really saddening to see the ones around you who are oblivious to the benefits that we're going through. I mean, it's obvious when you watch a person go through a solid food vacation. You see their skin glowing and all that stuff. You see the benefits. You knew they were suffering before, and you know they're not suffering now. And yet, for some reason, we're so resistant to give it a try. Well, we know the decision is the hardest part of any journey. That very first step. And they're going to have to take it themselves. If you're not ready for this information, you're just not ready for it. But the thing is, there's enough of us out there that are ready for it. We've just got to pound down the numbers so that we can get to those. And hopefully as you do this, you'll get a little better at sizing people up. I know it didn't take me too long to figure out that if I started saying things too soon when I first met somebody, they couldn't accept any of it. If I just spent a little while talking to them to find out what they knew, and if I knew anything about it, I might be able to establish some credibility on that subject. And then that might get a foot in the door. Now here's another thing, along the same lines, sort of, and I don't do this often enough, but I think it's a good idea, especially with the people you love. Find out 5 people they admire. The odds are, if they can give you 5 people that they admire, one of those are going to say something that will get a foot in the door. Possibly. Possibly. Worth a try. Again, you know, it's a challenge, isn't it? Well, the thing, I like what one of my commenters made, one of my favorite commenters. She pointed out that, well, I'm just not trying hard enough. And that's how you got to look at it. You don't want to be frustrated. You got to use a better word like I'm challenged. I just haven't figured out a good enough way to say this to them so they'll accept it. And that in itself is somewhat of a slippery slope, because sometimes the better your argument, the faster they shut off their frontal lobe. The more convincing the evidence you give them, the faster they shut off their frontal lobe. So this is tricky, I know. I've been doing it for a long time. It's pretty much everything I do every day for a long time. It really has consumed my life. It's given my life a purpose. It puts a smile on my face. I can get out here and get excited about talking to anybody, hoping that maybe they might need my help. Met a man just a moment ago, Ricardo. Hope, Ricardo, you follow up on this. I'm telling you, man, your knee's going to heal a whole lot faster when your body's not all dirty inside. I didn't even tell you about how the lymph system's going to interfere with your body healing. But I do in all of my other videos. So, Ricardo, if you happen to come by my channel, I hope you do, be sure to check out a Solid Food Vacation playlist. I have it down below in the description box of my video. And I can guarantee you, Ricardo, just like everyone else, and just like I told you this morning, if you do it, you're in for a treat.